Hello friends, welcome to Social Topper. Today, myself Pranav Suchindran will be teaching you the first chapter in Class 10 Social Science Democratic Politics, that is power sharing. Power sharing is one of the most easiest chapter in Class 10 Social. So let's get started. First, let us understand the meaning of the word power sharing. The sharing of powers among the levels and organs is referred to as power sharing. So, as given in our textbook, let us look at the cases of two countries and how they dealt with power sharing. So, this would make us understand on why do we need power sharing and its greatness. First, let us look at Belgium. Belgium is a small country in Europe, smaller in area than the Indian state of Haryana. It has a population of about 1 crore, which is approximately half the population of Haryana. It shares its border with France, the Netherlands, Germany, and Luxembourg. The ethnic composition or the ethnic diversity of this country is very complex. Now, let us look at the ethnic composition of Belgium. 59% of its population live in the Flemish region and speak Dutch language. 40% of its population live in the Wallonia region and speak French language. 1% of its population speak German. The capital of this country is Brussels. The composition of the language speaking communities in Brussels is quite different. 80% of the population speak French and 20% of the population speak Dutch. The French people were very rich. They got the benefit of economic development before the Dutch, and educationally also they were very qualified. They even were very authoritative. In the years down the line, during the 1950s and 1960s, there were huge tensions between both the language speaking communities due to the indifferences between them. So now let us look at the map of Belgium. So the region that is shaded in yellow color represents the Flemish Dutch speaking, and the region that is shaded in red color shows the Wallonial speaking French community. And in the corner of the Wallonia region, we could see a small settlement of the German speaking community. Now, let us look at the case of Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has a diverse population just like Belgium. It is an island nation having a population of about 2 crores, which is almost same as the population of our Indian state Haryana. The largest social groups are the Sinhala speakers in this country. So now let us look at the ethnic composition of Sri Lanka. The majority is constituted by the Sinhala speakers, who constitute around 74%. Tamil speakers constitute to around 18%. The Tamil speakers are further classified into Sri Lankan Tamils, who constitute to around 13%, and Indian Tamils, who constitute to around 5%. The Sinhala speakers were Buddhists, and the Tamil speakers were both Muslims and Hindus. 7% of the country's population was constituted by Christians, and the rest 1% was mixed religion. Sri Lanka got its independence in the year 1948. The majoritarian form of government was established just after independence. First, let us understand what is majoritarianism. Majoritarianism is a belief where the majority rules disregarding the interests of the minority. In 1956, only Sinhala Bill Act was passed by the majoritarian government. Now let us look at the provisions in that bill. Sinhala was declared as the official language, like it was the state specific language, and Buddhism was made as a state specific religion or the official country's religion. The government favored Sinhala applicants for university positions and government jobs. So these were the three main provisions of the only Sinhala Bill Act of 1956. So when we look at this act, this may be very attractive for the Sinhala community, but for the others, they would feel alienated. And this Bill Act is outrightly undermining the spirit of equality. So, after the Bill Act was passed, the relations between the Sinhala and Tamil communities strained. The Tamil felt so alienated and they launched many party struggles, movements, and other revolutionary activities against the Sinhala or the majoritarian government. Tamils, after a quite long struggle, they next started demanding for a separate statehood, which was known as Elam. And this led to a civil war inside the country. And this war had ended by the end of 2009 when as we read in our economics chapter 1 development, Sri Lanka is well known for its economic status. But due to this civil war, it had to face a lot of economic depressions. Now, this is the map of Sri Lanka. So, the area that has been shaded in orange color represent the Sri Lankan Tamils. The area that has been shaded in brown color shows the Indian Tamils, like they are concentrated little bit in the center, and the rest, which has been shaded in yellow color, shows the Sinhalese group, like the majority. Okay, now let's come back to the case of Belgium. The government of Belgium handled the community difference very well. Like they had brought a very beautiful Belgian model to tackle this community difference. Belgian leaders amended their constitution four times between 1970 and 1993, resulting in a new model for government administration. Now, let us look at the features of the Belgian model. So, according to the constitution, there was equal representation of ministers at the central government. Like 50% will be from French community and 50% will be from Dutch community. The state government was given special powers, but the state government was not considered subordinate to the central government. In the capital Brussels, a separate government was formed with equal representation from both French and Dutch speaking communities. The third form of government, known as community government, was formed by people belonging to one language speaking community. Like anyone belonging to one language speaking community could form their own community government. Like a community government for French can be formed separately, one for Dutch could be formed separately, one for German could be formed separately. This government has the authority to take decisions over matters like education, culture, and language. So, this Belgian model has been very accommodative. This has bridged the indifferences between the language speaking communities and it has overall brought unity. And now, this Belgian model has become an inspiration for the other countries which got independence subsequently. Due to this beautiful Belgian model, the headquarters of the European Union is now set up in Brussels. Now, let us see why power sharing is desirable. The reasons why power sharing is desirable can be classified into two types: the prudential reasons and the moral reasons. The prudential reasons emphasize how power sharing will bring out better outcomes, whereas the moral reasons emphasize how power sharing is valuable. First, let us look at the prudential reasons. First, power sharing reduces conflicts among the social groups. just as we saw in in the case of Belgium, it has bridged the indifferences between the communities. Next, imposing the rule of majority may look attractive in a short term, but in the long run, it causes disunity in the country. Tyranny of majority would lead to losses in both the sides, just as we saw in Sri Lanka, as the will of majority was imposed. It led to a civil war, and the loss was in both the sides, like both in the sides of Tamils as well as Sri Lankans. Now let us look at the moral reasons. Power sharing is the very spirit of democracy. Like power sharing has now become a key branch of democracy. Direct participation of people is now observed in the decision making process. People are given the privilege to be consulted. So these are the moral reasons. Now let us look at the different forms of power sharing. Before that, let us understand the meaning of the word prudential. Prudential refers to having a thought for the future, which is often related to having a thought in a very good way. So now let us look at the various forms of power sharing. There are total four forms of power sharing: horizontal, vertical, power sharing among social groups, power sharing amongst political parties, pressure groups, and movements. First, let us look at horizontal form of power sharing. The sharing of power among the different organs of the government is referred to as horizontal form of power sharing. That is the power sharing among the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. This is also known as a uniform system. This is also referred to as a system of checks and balances, because one organ can check whether the other organ is functioning and operating properly. They can only check, but they cannot overpower the other organ. Now let us look at vertical form of power sharing. The sharing of powers among the different levels of the government is referred to as vertical form of power sharing. That is the sharing of powers among the union government or the central government, the state government, and the local self government. The constitution has laid few powers to the third level of government or the three levels of government, which is known as the federal division of power. Now, let us look at the third form of power sharing, that is power sharing among social groups. The best example for power sharing among social groups is community government. And when we look at India, a few examples for power sharing among social groups would be the special reservations that has been done for the SCs and STs and other underprivileged people. Even weaker sections of the society, that is, women and children, are given special powers by the government. These are examples for power sharing among social groups. Now, let us look at power sharing amongst political parties, movements, and pressure groups. Best example for power sharing amongst political parties would be coalition government. During a coalition government, like many parties hold hands together and form the government. For example, the current government that is ruling in the central is a coalition government. Like the NDA alliance is ruling, where the BJP, as they couldn't get a clear majority, they formed the government with the help of the other parties in their alliance, like the Telugu Desam party, and their seat number crossed the 50% majority, and thereby they formed the government. Now let us look at the power sharing system among pressure groups. First, let us understand what is a pressure group. A pressure group is a group which would be created when they want to protest or show their disinterest against one particular problem. For example, the Narmada Bachao Andolan was again pressure group. Even pressure groups are mostly extensions of major political parties. They play a key role in expressing the public's interests. We can also see power sharing in many movements, like against a particular issue. There are many movements raised where we have a leader and other members who coordinate. We can see power sharing there as well. So, overall, that's all. We are done with the chapter. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be posting separate explanatory videos for each and every chapter in our class 10 social science. So, stay tuned. Thank you, everyone. I'll also be posting a separate practice paper with questions on this chapter power sharing in our YouTube channel. So, stay tuned and make the best use of it.